Here we are again, folks. I figured it was about time I talked about the sub. The Glub Glub. You know it. I know it. It's been in the news. I figured it would be an interesting topic. So, for those of you who don't know, there was a sub. A big old sub. Sub wub 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 wub. And it was ran by some billionaire. And this cringy billionaire decided that he was going to sell overpriced, like $250,000 tours of the Titanic to random individuals in his underdeveloped tin can. A glorious idea. I'm sure you're all just overwhelmed with the intellect of everyone involved in this organization. I know I am. Boy, exactly what I would want to do is get in some rusty tin can ran by some nepotist billionaire. But at least we can be sure that everyone involved got what they deserved at the end of the day, right? So anyways, well, as you expected, the sub eventually failed after like a decade of use, which, to be honest, was quite a long time. Apparently, the old white guys that this guy fired had warned him about the structural integrity of his sub. It's a shame that it didn't seem to get through, but life's filled with it's a shame moments. But yeah, it's also a shame, in my opinion, that these quote-unquote people, and I use the term lightly, didn't get the joy of suffocating to death slowly, worrying about killing each other for more oxygen, etc., going through that. It is very sad that they were in fact just crushed immediately when the thing exploded and they turned into basically human eggs. That's a shame. But now that we're in this situation, why exactly did this happen? So I'd like to talk about a few things. First of all, one of the things that I took away from this event was the deceased CEO said that hiring X, Y, and Z people for some reason is inspirational. There's nothing inspirational about diversity, equity, inclusion. If you somehow don't feel represented and you're not in a space and you can't feel inspired because of that, I simply don't buy it. First of all, I think it's woke projection. For instance, I am an enjoyer of Asian video games, and let me tell you, there's no people in Genshin Impact. Objectively, they're all Asians. You know, the development company has made that perfectly clear. And yet, I can still be inspired by the cool anime-esque story and that one boss fight on the Engine of Creation. I'm not going to ruin it, but that was based, and, you know, felt really good. Like, you really get into it. It felt like a Final Fantasy XIV boss fight when the music kicks in and you start wrecking stuff. You know, it's got its moments. It had a good moment. So, you know, I can certainly be inspired by well, we'll go with it. I can be inspired by hentai, anime, manga, all of that. Why not? Full-on inspirational hentai moment. I probably should have thought about that a little bit more before I said it, but we are here. We're gonna go with it. And so, I don't understand why we even consider diversity, inclusion, equity, all of that inspiring. Because it's not. It's simply destructive and silly behavior. So, you know, I think it's a sad part about society where we've come to a point where we, you know, believe these things are inspiring, like, or we're breaking glass ceilings, like, by hiring women, etc. No, you're in fact doing nothing. Like, women have always been working in X, Y, and Z positions, just more rarely in the past, you know. By taking away competency, taking away merit, we're just making our system worse for no real reason. And the people that are going to suffer for that are going to be the average people and your consumers and all that, and the random $250,000 trip takers, etc. They're the ones that are, you know, going to suffer for this sort of stuff. And at the end of the day, it says a lot about our society where what we produce is not actually interesting, it's who's producing it. Because in Marxism, you can't really make anything good. You can't produce good things with Marxist intents. Like, that's just factually what it is. And so because Marxists can't make good video games, can't make good stories, can't make good anything, we are in a situation where we have to celebrate the people making it rather than the actual products itself, which is a dangerous and degenerate practice. So if that's inspiring to you, I don't know what else to tell you. You know, people like that deserve all the suffering that's coming to them. The rest of us don't, but, you know, it doesn't matter. As a society, we're going to embrace our suffering either way, so we might as well truly suffer well, you know. I think that's a movie quote, I don't remember what from, but if you can remember saying it. It's coming to me though, it's like suffer well or something. Might have been the original Lord of the Rings movies, I'm not sure, but you know, we're in a situation where realistically there is no hope for the West, and I think the sub and the fact that it imploded really is a caricature of like what society's future is. A slow, steady implosion filled with hubris, filled with diversity, equity, inclusion, built on our new set of values, which are both embarrassing and degenerate at the same time. You know, and it's sad to say that I'm so ashamed of being an American. I've never really been ashamed of my lineage before, like, recently, you know, and now it's tough to describe it, right? Because at the end of the day, like, you can't control where you're born, obviously, just like you can't control, you know, all of these things that these wokeists will cringe on about over and over again. And yet, we're supposed to be inspired by the fact that, you know, the people making this are of the correct skin color, race, gender, what have you, right? And because we've been indoctrinated into this sort of schizophrenic, almost, ideology, we've kind of failed ourselves and the products we make. And I hope going forward, at least, that in the West we can look at this kind of, you know, garbage ideology and just point out how factually incorrect it is. There is nothing inspiring about the people making X, Y, and Z. What inspires people is going to be the stories that you write, not the people inside of it. You know, no little, like, black boy is, you know, looking at Roots or whatever and thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be whatever, you know, etc. Like, I don't know, maybe it's different for people with sub-room temperature IQs, but, like, when I look at, say, you know, Asian media, which is the vast majority of what I consume, like, I can still be inspired even though it has nothing to do with white people, right? That's completely indifferent to who's actually doing the story. It's what should inspire you should be the quality of the story and the people involved in it. It shouldn't be just, you know, the races of the people involved in it. Like, that's such a shallow and disgusting way of looking at the world, right? And speaking of shallow and disgusting, like, you know, this guy had warnings upon warnings from all the people around him about the implosion, and he fired them because they were old white guys that knew what they were talking about. And, you know, what are we going to do in a world once, like, there are no more of these old white people to, you know, keep these things running? And it's quite a scary prospect, quite interesting, really, when you think about it, right? And so we're going to lose that sort of cultural bedrock and foundation that everything rests upon. It's all going to collapse, and everyone can see it coming, and people are still, like, following, like, the woke brainlets that they are. They're following over, you know, they're fawning over the race of X, Y, and Z. Like, how inspirational, dude. Did you hear? In the new Spider-Man, they're going to have, like, a transsexual she-male, he-Hulk, you know, identifies as Zer, you know, instead of the he-Hulk. When in reality, you know, what people want is He-Man the woman hater. Let's be clear here. So, at least as far as I can see, like, imbibing a woke cultural pill is doing literally no one any favors. And I hope going forward, at least, we can get to a state where we can start accepting that products have to be good by themselves, not the people that are involved in them. Like, we have to celebrate the products, not the people that are the you know, that have made the products. We have to stop deconstructing our media and our society and everything involved with it, and back away and just analyze things for what they actually are, not what, you know, critical theory dictates they should be. And at the end of the day, I feel like all evil stems from Marxism, and all of this is just Marxist to me. Feminism is just Marxist, diversity, equity, inclusion, all of it is just pure Marxism. And there is no way for us to develop and create things that are not just strictly Marxist claptrap. Sorry, I don't know why I've been exhausted the last few days. Just because I think I realized that, at least for me, like the video games that I like, except for like indie games, are over. So if I want to play good games, I'm gonna have to go out to a culture where it doesn't have exactly the values that I could have. Like, before I used to get by dodging the pay-to-win aspects in our culture, and like now it's just going to be basically indie games for me. I'm pretty sure. And just, you know, if it's not an indie game, it'll have to be an Eastern game. And that's just what it is. So, you know, I'm diversifying my video game options. I'm increasing the equity of them, giving my money over to the impoverished Easterns. I haven't actually spent any money on a video game in a long time. I probably don't plan to anytime soon, except for indie titles. I'll probably going to buy a bunch of indie titles soon just to tide me over until the end of the year. I've been looking for new releases that might be exciting too, and it's a very scary world out there for entertainment's sake, without my, you know, previous hidden sanctums. So yeah, it is a sad day in the West, and just like that sub, we're all going to implode very soon, and I, for one, am excited about that. I really am going to enjoy the schadenfreudies of all of these wokies and the society that they've built falling to ruin. And that, to me, is going to be at least the greatest height that I'm going to be able to achieve. And so, I hope you guys at least get to enjoy that with me and get to watch as society burns, as things implode. And it's going to be interesting and hilarious at the same time. And with that, I bid you au revoir. What does my next ability do? Sure. How hard does this tree go? Jeez. It's like Path of Exile I'm playing or something here. Either way, have a good day.